Again, just going on gut analysis, spending a lot of time studying cults and religions and the overlap with intelligence stuff, because they have a lot of interest in cults and religions. Mm-hmm. In fact, I might even write my next book on religion and intelligence.
Okay.
We've done a lot of lectures in the last few years on that specific subject matter because very few people go into that. People don't know that the state has a vested interest in wanting to make churches forms of what's called soft power. Mm. And soft power is a way to, if you're the state or if you're a superpower, to extend your influence in other cultures through non-kinetic warfare. So you're doing it not with guns and tanks per se, but with culture. Hollywood has been a very powerful engine of Western soft power. You know, I mentioned writing about James Bond in the Cold War. Bond was a form of projecting Western soft power to other nations in the Cold War, right? So you've got these Soviets, they're tyrannical, they want to lock you down. James Bond represents, you know, Western masculinity, capitalism, you know, free love, you know, all these kinds of things that Bond is supposed to represent. So likewise, intelligence agencies are very interested and have always been interested in cults and religions. Crowley was a spy, as we said. Many New Agers. Madame Blavatsky, there's really good. She's the mother of all the New Age movements. There's a lot of good evidence to suggest that she was also a spy. She worked with the KGB. One of her handlers was actually a KGB guy. In situations like the Cold War, a lot of times the Western intelligence operatives found it beneficial to make alliances with Muslims for the purpose of fighting Soviets. So like the most famous example is 1979 Soviet conflict, where Brzezinski and Carter, Robert Gates, they all openly wrote about and strategized to use Al-Qaeda against the Soviets. And so they armed them, they funded them. It's called Operation Cyclone, well known, it's declassified. For example, Russia and other countries have banned Scientology and Jehovah's Witnesses because they're pretty well-known covers for espionage.
Really?
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses, though?
And Mormons.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm. It's well-known, yeah.
That's crazy. What is the how well-known and what is the evidence?
What Russia openly says, because these are...
They say, but I mean, like, what evidence do they have to, like, verify that?
Well, that's when you'd have to go into, like, a lot of spy biographies and, like, histories of espionage and connections that the Western intelligence agencies have had, not just with, like, certain groups of Islam, but with religion in general. I mean, if you think about it from the vantage point of the state, like, you want to be using any means that you have at your disposal. And so if you've got a ready-made bunch of people who are activists or missionaries is a classic spy cover. Not saying all missionaries are spies. It's just a classic. I mean, USAID, Red Cross, these are classic covers for various types of espionage activity. For example, I shared an old article that's on the CIA website, Covert Action magazine from 1983, from the CIA's own website, an article about CIA support for one of the evangelical dictators in Latin South America, Mont, M-O-N-T-T. So people are interested, you can go read on my wall. That it should be pretty high up on my wall. But that's one example of just one during the Cold War where the CIA reached out to this guy and said, we want you on board. We're going to raise money for you with Jerry Falwell, Billy Graham. And so the evangelicals raised a lot of money to support this evangelical supposed dictator in Latin South America, Mont, M-O-N-T-T. So that's one case that's admitted, but it's a natural posture. But just people don't know about it, but it's a natural posture for the state to take to try to make alliances with various religious movements.
Interesting.
Let me give you one more example that's declassified that's proof of this. It's called the Doctrinal Warfare Program. A very famous Catholic named David Wimhoff wrote a giant 800-page book on it. It's really good. It's called Time Life Magazine, John Courtney Murray and the American Proposition. It's the name of the book. And it's about the 2013 declassified document, the Doctrinal Warfare Program, which the CIA set up under people like C.D. Jackson to recruit as many Roman Catholic theologians, scholars, and prelates as they could. And we don't know all of them, but we know that John Courtney Murray, the famous Jesuit Americanist philosopher, was in it. We know that to some degree they had Cardinal Spellman involved. But the idea was that it's a Cold War. We got to do whatever we can. So you're going to work with us at every capacity that we need you to help beat the Soviets in the Cold War. The problem, and I agree that like Soviets are bad guys. I'm not pro-communist. But the problem is that now you've made this alliance with the intelligence agencies. Now they have a lot of leverage with you. And if you look into Operation Gladio, another declassified thing that ties into the Vatican Bank, that helps to explain a lot of this as well.
I'm sure this goes the other way too, though. Like we just recently saw the big scandal with, there was a company that was hiring the likes, I think the most prominent name I remember was Tim Pool for Russia, these crazy videos. They're getting paid outlandish amounts to kind of make this like soft Russian-esque propaganda videos. And this happened hugely within the conservative sphere as well.
Well, I know Tim, and Tim's always been cool to me. He's always had me on and been very positive. I don't think that, I never detected like that Tim wants to push Russian propaganda. Sure. So I think what happens in these kinds of situations is that an entity with money and donors reaches out and says, we want to support your media group. We'll give you $10 million. I don't know the background of that situation, but I'd seriously doubt that Tim would be, he's pretty media savvy. I doubt he would be.
It was a third party. It was a third party.
I think,
so it wasn't directly to Tim.
Yeah.
It was a couple that was running some sort of agency, and this couple was being paid. They, I think, were verified to be Russian spies or somehow connected, and they were going out and hiring conservative influencers, speakers, and giving them pretty crazy amounts of money for very low-performing videos.
Yeah, I'm not trying to deny that. Basically, all countries do this.
Yes,
I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying like China has people that they influence with money and media and operatives. Russia has people. Every country essentially does this to some degree if they have the capabilities to do so.
Yeah.
So this is just what happens.
Would you feel comfortable putting Tucker's tour of a Russian grocery store in a similar category? He's there. He's surprised. You haven't seen this video? He's like, they have bread. They got this. They got this. And it just seems like straight Russian. Yeah.
That was my Tucker laugh.
Yeah. He does that. He's like, oh, they got bread. They got this. They got that. And it was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you in Russia grocery shopping to show them that they have better produce than America and it's cheaper?
I love Tucker, so I don't think that he's a Russian operative or anything like that. I think he at least seeks to, in these situations, try to get both sides. I thought his Putin interview was pretty good. I thought he asked really good questions. I don't think it was any kind of like softball thing. I think it was a real valid interview.
Putin spent a lot of time giving us the history.
The history that was it was like a history. It was like a history course, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't see the grocery store thing, so I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.